Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Implications of Phineas and Ferb podcast.
There's 365 days in a gap year, and uni's gonna come and end it. So the once in a lifetime problem for us is finding a good way to spend it.
Making a podcast.
What an episode today.
This is, you know how we always say they're bangers? Like, this
Yeah.
is,
We always say it
but
because
this-
it's Phineas and come on.
like, this is like top, this is somehow like the second adventure is both the cutest episode we have ever and the saddest.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of sad episodes.
It is a whole grab bag of emotions. I would even say you could pretty definitively point to this to the episode where instead of doing episode of the week stuff, they started actually kind of having, the characters start following this natural evolution in this episode.
Yeah.
Candace starts going insane about
She's just absolutely
things. She's not just like doing the same things every other day. She's like, I'm going to try and find out where the things go. She's like thinking it through.
She's starting to be driven crazy. She's going through a psychiatric
going through
episode.
it, and it's only going to get worse. Just also very fun episodes, just good stuff.
So season 2, episode 5, Don't Even Blink, and Chez Platypus, and I'm doing the synopsis for Don't Even Blink because it reminded me of Doctor Who.
And I'm doing Chez Platypus because I have worked in hospitality and I can have a lot to say about this episode.
Yes, I'm sure you do. Before we get onto it, though, I chose Don't Even Blink, preferably. I'm kind of disappointed there weren't any weeping angels. It would have been a real quick geared shift change.
It would have been funny to go straight into horror, but I also think that Phineas and Ferb would school weeping angels like no tomorrow. Like they wouldn't even give a fuck.
They would stare them down. The weeping angels would move when they were looking at them.
They
would
need to
move
blink.
away.
They'd be scared.
They'd be scared. They'd be like, yeah, no, not these two.
Because it's Phineas and Ferb. Like
Also,
they'd be fine.
while we're here, can we discuss weeping angels' plans? They touch you and they send you back in
Weeping
time.
angels from Doctor Who, yes.
That's free time travel. I ain't worried.
Yeah, except you can't go forward again.
Well, you could if Doctor Who was around in the TARDIS.
I guess.
There's like, if you
There's
own a
zero
time machine,
repercussions.
there's like zero problem with them touching you.
Yeah, but
They are freaking scary though.
yeah, they are quite terrifying villains, and I just think they're really interesting. They're a good villain for a show about time travel.
All right. Anyway, Big Brain Stacy's like
Literally got Stacey's big ass brain as my
she's
first
500 IQ move here. She's just like, you've always struggled getting your brothers to be busted because it just disappears. Why don't you find out where it goes? That's good stuff.
She is on the right track.
Should have been in the Sherlock episode. That is big brain.
Mm-hmm.
And so then Candace is, that's a good idea. I'm just going to stare it down for the rest of the episode. And Phineas and Ferb make some obvious building site and some obvious ride.
Yeah, they make
big ride.
literally a carnival ride. Pretty standard carnival ride, to be honest. Like, I mean, he goes a bit nuts at times, but it's basically just those carnival rides that you see at like the Tamworth show or whatever, like you see him everywhere.
Yeah, and then meanwhile, Perry's going off to Doof as normal, and Doof's making...
And hold on. Meanwhile,
hang on.
Monogram's going to Vegas, baby.
and he made the entrance a Vegas related with flashy lights and like the most obvious thing, which is
I
no good for-
appreciate how he tries to bring a little bit of spice and fun to work for Perry. That's good, even if he does it very stupidly.
Monogram's just living live.
He's having a great
He's got to
time.
clock in, he's got to talk to Perry, and he's going to clock off to go to Vegas.
I feel like that's a metaphor for his chilled out, very fun voice actor, whoever that is.
Yeah,
Never met him,
no
never heard of him.
idea. Haven't definitely had a conversation that we happen to record.
Watch episode 1 of season 5 of Implications of Phineas and Ferb. We talked to Jeff Swampy Marsh.
You're doing yourself a favour.
Yeah, it's good for you as a person.
Yeah,
it will improve your life.
Yeah, you can somehow, you can't, but if you could just mute us and listen to his responses because they're perfectly good. Like
This episode is brought to you by that episode.
Yeah, so our
sponsor for this week.
today is ourselves doing something incredible.
Yeah, go watch the Swampy episode, especially because it's really close to 300 plays, and I really wanted to break 300.
And we wanted to beat Kelsey's episode.
Yeah,
Kelsey,
somehow Kelsey's
no
episode
offense.
has more streams than ours. How does that work?
Your biggest measurement is? I don't understand. Anyway, Doofs and Naders are amazing. Both episodes. Incredible. First of all, the Invisible Inator or the Invisible Ray.
He builds an invisible ray, and not only does it make people invisible, but it can make things uninvisible again, and it doesn't work on like a whole object. It's literally like a chemical that sprays on you, and when it's on you,
or
it
like
turns you
a
invisible.
light ray that
Yeah.
can somehow remove.
Yeah, like
whatever.
only things that touch it, so you can get rid of just your hand.
It's some of the like
That's so cool.
sturdy rules in
Yeah.
the Inator. Like some of them are just a bit like you hit a thing with a ray and the plot
Thing
convenience
happens,
takes over. No, this one's actually
This
been
one is
thought out.
solid, and
The motivation.
the fight scene.
This is why we love Doof. No, the bit
fight
where
scene
he's
is
just
so
like, why he made it. Because the
Oh,
Scout
yeah.
Girl cookies.
He made it because the Fireside Girls are always showing up to sell cookies, and he's always got the blinds open by accident, and,
Yeah,
and they
he's
can
just
look
there.
inside
They
and
can
they
see
can
him.
see him. So his plan is to shoot them with the invisible ray so that he doesn't have to look at
He
them.
builds an invisible ray. Not to shoot himself so they don't see him and they just think he's not home. Just shoot them so he doesn't feel guilty about looking at them. And you know what makes this even better / worse? The invisible ray has a disintegrating setting.
He could just kill them.
So if they keep knocking, I'm afraid they're not going to be knocking for much longer.
I love it because it's just so like
That's the backup plan. Gotta murder those Fireside Girls.
it's the dumbest way to achieve his goal, and I feel like every one of Doof's plans could be summed up with it's the dumbest way to achieve what he sets out to achieve.
But it's an achievement we'd all like to have. Oh, I don't want some strangers looking that we don't
And-
have.
yeah, we don't really have door-to-door salesmen because like houses are so far apart and we're out of town. And
Yeah, it's actually really hard for them to get anywhere. Plus, with the animals, it's so hard. Like you
you get-
drive like 1 kilometer and you get car bombed by an echidna.
yeah, exactly. Or like
It's just not.
you're
worth
walking up to someone's porch and a drop bear falls off the top of their house. And just
It's
kills
not
them.
worth the risk.
It is definitely not worth the risk.
So if you live in other countries, and I assume America, that's quite a common thing to happen. And if I was there, I'd be like, I don't really want your cookies.
Yeah, and like we don't even have Jehovah's Witnesses. Oh, actually, no. I've got a great story about this.
All right.
We had some Jehovah's Witnesses come to our house. And to be clear, I live about 20 to 25 minutes
actually,
out
this
of town.
house I'm
This
sitting in.
house, the one you're in right now, yeah. We had Jehovah's Witnesses come out here.
They'd
And there
have
were
to be your neighbours.
There were 3 old ladies, and they were not our neighbours, no. They lived other side of town. They lived like in... So they lived there, right? And they'd come all the way out to us because they were doing door-to-door stuff. And Kelly, my sister,
Yes.
who is going to be on the podcast at some point,
Maybe. No,
she definitely...
the egg.
she had a hair shot, so we call her Egg, and it's hilarious. She was going to turn him away, and then she's like, "Wait a second, I'm in the middle of my religion studies class for my degree," because at the time she was doing like an English degree or something. I'm not quite sure. So she actually just had a chat to these 3 old ladies about religion for like a solid 45 minutes, and then just sent them on their way. And I don't know how. I've heard horror stories about like Jehovah's Witnesses just like not leaving you alone once you engage in one time, but we haven't seen them since.
Yeah.
She was just like, to be clear, I'm not interested, but I would like to talk to you about this. And they were like, that's fine.
That
we
sounds
just want
like
to talk to people.
interested to us.
Yeah,
so-
and they were like, they just had a chat with her and they haven't come back.
Oh, well, there you are.
So that was a little positive thing that happened.
Quite nice. Anyway, understand getting rid of Scout Girls probably would be annoying if we had them.
Yep, I can relate to this. The Invisible Inator has so many uses.
It does. Like, all sorts of
For,
things.
for starters, the absolutely amazing gag where Perry throws a chair at Doof and then it goes through the Invisible Inator and then just like he falls over when it hits him, but you don't see the chair. And he's just like, oh, that came out of nowhere.
It's good stuff.
Hilarious.
Can you see through the Invisiray?
What do you mean?
So you know how it's firing from the ground and it's that purple thing?
Mm.
If we were there, could you
Look through it.
look through the Invisiray? Because I don't think you could. But then again, if the ray makes you invisible, why is the ray itself visible?
Well, maybe it's not a ray. Maybe it's some sort of chemical that it sprays onto you.
Like a shower.
Yeah. Because it's even shaped like a shower. It even widens. as
Okay,
it
so
goes
how
down
does
and
the
stuff.
shower unshower you when you go through it the second time? Okay, fair. Let's not discuss that.
Yeah, that gets too complicated very quickly.
Anyway, Phineas and Ferb watching this thing they just made, not getting to play on it because Candace is crazy, and so they're like, you know what? We've got a metronome going in the background because you know.
clock ticking sound effect, because we're all just sitting here doing nothing. That's how you indicate boredom in a show.
Yep.
All of a sudden they're bobbing their heads along a little bit.
Yeah, they're
Little
listening
heads.
to it.
And
They can
Ferb's
hear
like,
it.
Ferb's like, I might just bust out a guitar
I
here.
might
and
just
then,
get my Spanish guitar out and do some light
Yeah.
strumming.
Yeah, just a little bit of nylon string guitar, and then Isabel's like, well, listen, I'm not going to take my eyes off this thing, and I'm not going to be a bad person and just immediately start trying to distract us, but I have got a tambourine.
I haven't got a tambourine. And Venus is like, well, we've got a
we've got a
tambourine.
tambourine-
We've got a guitar. I've got to sing.
I've got to sing. And once we get to the point, we're getting to the point where this is building up.
This is like a chorus.
We got to double the guitars, man.
We've got to get the trumpets out.
Yeah, 100%. And Buford's like, well, I bought a drum kit.
And when that drum kit hits, I'm like, ooh, that's the stuff.
I love how Phineas and Ferb and the gang are always trying to make music. They
Yeah,
just put it in at any opportunity.
And then the
They love
electric
music.
guitars come out, and I'm just like, oh,
This is a very good song.
this is a very good
Remember
song.
when we said that there wasn't a lot of memorable bangers
In season two, we were wrong.
We are incorrect.
This is great.
Great song.
I love it.
So we're
It's-
watching.
and we're waiting.
It's beautiful.
I love it.
But yeah, Candace is gonna go insane. And this episode, she goes insane.
And then, so she's been watching it. Like,
Mhm.
I've written down, universe is really fucking with her. Like, she, like, I'll give her a credit. She is going crazy, but like everything is just ruining her at this point.
They just want to ruin Candace's life.
Mum beeps. She's like, oh, Mum's here. Turns around for like a second. That's the second that Perry hits the thing with the Invis-Ray and it disappears. She turns around instantly and screams. 100% fair reaction. That's how you ruin a person. That's like gaslighting, but it's the universe gaslighting you.
It gets to the point where she works out the exact point of the driveway that the universe decides that if a person goes past it, that means that they're home. And she's like standing into one spot and like moving her body back and forth, and the thing is disappearing and reappearing, and she's like, what's happening?
Yeah, it's just so unfair. Like, that's so unreasonable to do that to one person.
And honestly, her descent into madness as the time goes on, very justified. Like, if you started in season 4 and you saw how insane she was, you'd be like, this doesn't make sense. Watching from season 1 going in consecutive order, oh my god, it's such a simple
Especially this
character progression.
episode, you can just pinpoint it. She's like, I'm going to watch it disappear because
This is
I've
the
seen
episode.
it disappear. Well, I haven't seen it, but I've seen it like was there and now it's not. And she like spends the entire day looking at it and it still manages to do it.
Yeah, and like, this is the exact episode where she stops going about busting her brothers and starts just questioning her place and role in the universe.
Just starts questioning
Candace
reality
has an ongoing
itself.
existential crisis for the rest of the show.
And she screams a lot because of
Oh
it.
yeah. Speaking of Candace, do you reckon we're on for the next episode?
Oh, I reckon we're on.
This second episode is a lot to talk about.
Cutest episode.
Cutest,
I want to say
so
cutest.
adorable.
Let's get it out of the road. Candace and Jeremy,
Adorable.
adorable.
Jeremy, the fact that we barely see it because Jeremy is like the cool boy that she's interested in, but occasionally we just get this little glimpse. Jeremy really likes Candace as well.
He does.
And
Even when
he's-
she's acting like a crazy psychopath. Like, she pushes people out of the line. She's like, get out of my road. This is my house. To be fair, it is her backyard. She's like insulting Buford. She's like sick of this. She's going absolutely crazy. She calls her mother in front of him. And it's like, Mum, make them let me come into the restaurant. She's going crazy. And Jeremy's just like, Candace, I don't mind waiting. It's the time spending with you that
I'm here
matters.
for. What a sweetie. And
I'm like, come on.
that was very appropriately timed, accidentally hitting the cheers button with your notebook there.
That was accidental.
But very well timed. This could have very easily been a situation where Candace had a boy that she liked that didn't like her back, and she spent all her time chasing him.
Yeah.
She
Which
could have
happens
been
a
like
lot.
she could have been the Yonder, because like there's so many shows where that's one of the tropes, right?
And that's the joke.
Yeah, and that's the joke. Oh, he doesn't like her back. That's the part of the joke. But that also
American
creates
humour.
this. It creates this like expectation, and can like it portrays the person who's chasing him as like quite unjustified and unlikable. And this is a show about likable characters. Everyone is good.
Everyone's
and
good.
It is really cool that Jeremy's into Candace as well, and they've got this thing going, and it's like a will they, won't they, and it's really sweet. And I really love Jeremy.
All right. Now, whatever day this is, it's date night day for literally every couple in Danville.
100%. Including the parents.
You've worked in hospitality.
Yep.
How would restaurants cope knowing that one day every frippin' couple is going to come in? They're either going to reserve or they're going to be those sort of people that
Just show
walk
up.
in and they just show up. Like, you're going to have a full house.
How would restaurants cope? Let me tell you, I've worked on Valentine's Day before.
Oh, Yeah, nice.
So
Wait, do we think this is Valentine's Day?
very possible. Although they don't
Technically
mention
not
it.
summer, but then also...
I mean,
Oh, they have mentioned Valentine's. I don't know. Continue.
yeah. Anyway, I've worked in a Valentine's Day before, and that segues nicely into the fact I used to be a waiter slash barista for about 2.5 years of my life.
Nice. Of that 18.
Yeah,
So that's like...
I actually started
ninth.
working as a busboy the first day that I was actually legally able to have a job.
Nice.
I walked into it, 15 and 9 months to the day. And then I worked there for about 2.5 years.
And then your employment record went just fucking down the
Down the hill, and I was like,
the drain.
I was like, you know what's better than having a job? Making a podcast.
And not getting paid for that either.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, I worked as a barista, busboy, and waiter at a restaurant for 2.5 years. And I've lived through 2 Valentine's Days at that employment.
That is how years work.
Yeah. And Valentine's Day is not that far off this in terms of the customers that you've seen. Like the fact that there's annoying customers, there's weird customers, the entire place is packed, you got a line out the front, you got nothing but couples, which means that you've got nothing but 2-person tables, which means you can't fill your tables that have like 10 seats on them.
Yeah.
All of that, very accurate. The customer side, well done. Even the people that are like, oh, this new place is more trendy, so we're just going to go to a different restaurant because this one won't let us in. That is very accurate. What is not accurate in this episode is the portrayal of the kitchen.
Oh, okay. What's wrong with the kitchen? Because Ferb is the kitchen staff.
Yeah.
And if I was to put anyone as a kitchen staff, knowing what sort of people actually work in kitchens, which are quite funny people and quite...
I'll just say right off the bat, Ferb isn't high, so it's not accurate.
You don't know that. Ferb could be high.
Well, his eyes aren't like red enough to
One
be a kitchen
eye
staff.
is bigger than the other.
Touche. I'll give you that. But yeah, the kitchen is too smooth. There is no mess anywhere. There is no bowls anywhere. There is such an organized system that they've got. Like, they're having too much fun.
All right, we need to discuss this restaurant and how beautiful it is and how the ideas work.
They have quite possibly the best meal delivery system ever.
Who needs waiters?
They say earlier in the episode that I can't remember who it is. I think it was Isabella. They're like, you can be a busboy. And I'm like...
Oh, no, the Baljeet's like...
To Baljeet.
Yeah,
like,
because she's going to be the hostess. She'll, like, show people their seats.
They're like, Baljeet, you can be a busboy. Baljeet has no job in this restaurant because
Well,
they
I
do
don't
not
see
need
him.
busboys. Phineas comes out and he takes people's orders, and then he has, like, a thing that, like, literally one of those string can...
Sort of things that
yeah.
falls from the ceiling.
Firstly, just have a walkie-talkie. Probably a bit easier.
Just a walkie-talkie, or do like really cool, do like secret agent stuff where you press it to the ear and be
we
like,
know they can
"Ferb,
do that, so...
It's time for some chicken.
Yes. And then they
Call
have...
in the chicken.
They have pipes that are used to deliver things straight to a table. Now, I would say, very cool, not the most efficient way of doing that.
It's also, you'd run into probably unhygienic rules.
Yes.
But considering the restaurant's
Hygiene in hospitality is actually very...
Yeah.
Very
you can't have
strictly
You
regulated.
can't poisoning people.
Yeah, I mean, it's to the point where we actually didn't even use... I'm pretty sure this was regulation, but it might have just been a house rule. We would have one chopping board specifically for chicken.
Yeah.
That not only... Because you're not supposed to use the same chopping board for chicken and other stuff.
Yeah.
But not only would you not use it for anything else, but to avoid confusion, that was just the chicken chopping board. So you would never use that chopping board for anything else. If the only chopping board available was that one, and you were not chopping chicken, you didn't have a chopping board available. Because even if that one was clean, one was clean, because you couldn't be absolutely 100% certain that it was clean, like you wanted to be certain that it would go through in its own washing cycle. Chicken is just, you do not want it to get any other stuff.
But considering it's only open one night, skip all that. Just having tunnels that you can throw the food out straight onto the tables makes it so much quicker, makes it so much easier.
The reason I say this isn't very efficient, though, this idea has already been invented of not needing people to deliver food to tables. It's called a sushi train.
That is true, actually.
That would be more efficient, I would say, because you would not have to build such a complicated system. Because your pipes have to be as wide as your biggest meal, and also have an effective way of keeping the food on the plate and stuff and being stable. Far easier rather than going vertically and dropping the food onto the plate in a controlled manner. Just have it go horizontally.
Yeah,
like
all
Sushi
right.
Train.
That's very true, but I would go to this restaurant.
Oh, 100%. I would go to this restaurant in a heartbeat. I would give him so much of my money.
Stop with the live performances. Just make me a Phineas and Ferb restaurant I can go to.
Easy peasy. And by stop with the live performances, you mean, of course, bring live performances back. I really miss getting gigs. Please start hiring artists again. Please, this pandemic has been so rough.
All right, I'm going to put my notebook down now
Rightio.
because we've talked about every good moment in this episode.
And now we
But
have...
now we've got what
Somber
I would
moment.
like to call
I'm already tearing up.
a promise.
Sorry, this gets me emotional.
It is a hard episode. So Doof and Perry, we need to play it. Doof decides to make is it Unloveinator?
Yeah, something like that.
The satellite Unloveinator, and by the push of a button, he can ruin all the love in the tri-state area.
This is probably the closest I would say. This is a very James Bond style plan.
Yeah.
It's classic villain, satellite laser in the sky, got a button that he can
Evil
press.
guy, and it can just...
And we even get a classic villain shot. The lighting goes dramatic, and he's like, "It would be so easy to just push this button right
Yeah, they're
now."
really setting
Get
it
a
up.
close up, and he's like, "But I'm not going to because I'm going on a date, right? So I'm gonna have a great time, and then if it goes wrong, I'll just absolutely ruin it for everyone else."
2 points. When he first says, I'm going on a date, I'm like, why would you make an Unloveinator on a date? And then he says, if it goes south, I'm going to use it. I agree. That's the best thing to
That
do
is
ever.
so good.
Have you ever felt rejected? Well, so has everyone else in the entire tri-state area around me, because you can
Sold.
just press that button. This is the sort of like selfish evil that I'm here for. This
Yeah.
is why I
It's
love
petty,
Doof.
selfish evil.
I'm like,
he
this
could have
is-
made a
oh.
Loveinator to make her fall in love with him. But
Yeah,
instead he's
he
made
could
an
have made a
Unloveinator
tri-state-
to ruin everyone else's
He could have
day.
created world peace.
Easy.
A satellite that
This
just
exact thing,
boom.
but with the reverse button.
world peace. But he's like, stuff that. Everyone's going to suffer like I do. And I'm like,
That's so petty. and
I
love it.
understand and I love this. Anyway,
We get some heartbreak because he goes on this date, and we get a couple of jokes where
he's like going to because
he's
she
going to.
starts insulting him.
But
I
she's
usually
like-
go for blondes. And
he's
he's
like,
just
"Oh,"
like,
and he's like, "But something about your messy, unkempt hair just, I love it." And he's like,
oh,
really?
maybe
Oh,
I would
really?"
make everyone hate everyone in this tri-state
And
area.
the reason she's bringing that up is because she's going, "You're not my usual type, but you're just so charismatic and perfect that I like you anyway."
Yeah.
That is, I would say that's a high compliment.
So she's like, you're not my usual type, but you know what? I'll give you a chance because there's something about you. Might be the lab coat. I haven't tried a lab coat on my dates. I think I might next time. You know what? Why not? Anyway, turns out she loves evil. Have we got the man for you?
If there's one thing you could say about Doof, it's like, he reminds me of,
For starters,
reminds-
he's got this ringtone.
yeah, he loves music. But I also think that, like, he's less of an actual evil person and more of, like, a massive fan of the concept of evil. He's just he just loves evil as an abstract concept and literally the people that pull it off. Because I would say, as a person, he's not a bad guy.
He's not that bad.
He's
no.
not bad. He's evil, but not bad.
Anyway, she comes around and she also loves evil. Turns out she's not an evil
They've got
scientist.
matching
though, but-
evil tattoos.
Matching
Doof
evil
has a
tattoos.
tattoo.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I
wild
would
youth.
like to see the short of him going into a tattoo artist and asking for
Dan and
it.
Stompy, if you're listening, and I know you are because you listen to our podcast religiously, give us that short. Just a couple minutes. Just Dan, do a TikTok of it. Make
Do
it.
it.
You know, you.
Oh
yes,
that's a good idea. We'll get him to do the
Yes.
comments. Oh,
Please, sir, please.
please. You've made so many other good things canon. Make
Please.
this one as well. Anyway, so he's on this lovely date. They're just hitting it off. They make songs together. He gives the device to Perry and he's like, Perry, you know what? I'm having a chill time. You
Don't
haven't.
need this.
I'm so calm. I don't even think you're going to accidentally press the button. Because if you did accidentally press the button, we'd all be stuffed. But You know what?
I trust you, Perry. The fact that he trusts Perry to not.
Yeah, he's
ruin
just so chill. He's having such a wonderful time with this lady, and they go on a lovely date.
And Perry, true to his word, he destroys the remote.
Yeah.
He doesn't
And
want to
we're
ruin
like,
Doof's date.
No way Doof gets out of it. He's had
this-
one failed relationship before, and he got Vanessa, who's lovely, but they just didn't really connect. But now, can he get true love? Can he find true love? I'm sold. I want him to be happy.
Yeah. Could this be the turn where he becomes good?
He shapes the moon. They have evil armies together. They make
torture Perry together. That's romantic as fuck.
It's just a banging song all round, and you're like, this is so sweet. They go out on the jetty, and he just looks into the eyes, and it's just like, oh,
this is it.
This is it. This is the one
This
true
is the
moment.
moment.
Fucking satellite comes out of fucking orbit and shoots her, and she's just like, I feel nothing, and I'm like, dude, I feel for you.
You poor guy.
It's
Come
so
on.
sad. I'm just,
Let Doof find love.
please.
He deserves it. He's earned it.
He's had such a traumatic childhood, and
Traumatic childhood, difficult marriage,
and
constantly having his evil schemes foiled.
and now an even sadder adulthood. Like that's gotta hurt. And it was his own creation.
It's F's in the chat.
But
for
then
Doof and
again,
Spurs.
Don't build a D-Loveinator if you're going on a date. I know we want to be petty and selfish and revenge.
But you should probably build a Loveinator. Do the opposite thing.
Either build a Loveinator because that's smart, or just build it the day after because then you've got no risk. If
Exactly.
Yeah.
But inventions not having risk associated with their use isn't really Doof's
Yeah, no,
whole
that's
style.
not really Doof's
The man
plan.
who puts a self-destruct button on everything really isn't the
Including
type to
the Axinator. That's still one of my favorite jokes.
the Axinator is quite possibly the funniest moment in all of Phineas and Ferb. I fucking love it.
Well, I think we've
covered it all. Yeah.
I don't have my phone in here. I haven't checked if we've received any messages.
Well, I can do that one for you.
Good.
Spoilers, we haven't.
Oh.
No emails. Yeah.
Wow, you haven't even looked yet and you're so confident.
Yeah, well,
with us,
we get notifications for the emails. I haven't seen any notifications.
Just check Gmail for me.
Let me just double check if
And
you
then
want.
check Apple Podcasts as well. Well, I'll do the plugging then. So if you want to DM us on Instagram or you want to just visit our Instagram, we've got some really good memes on there. Trust us, all Phineas and Ferb related. Head over to Implications of Phineas and Ferb. We've also got our Gmail, Implications of Phineas and Ferb @gmail.com. We've also got a TikTok. I don't know the tag. Don't ask
The
me. I
TikTok
don't
is
wanna know
Imp
it.
Phineas and Ferb.
Okay,
and-
that's same with the Reddit as well.
Yeah, and
Though I won't
it
respond
is
on that.
the TikTok. We do actually post stingers of every like a little stinger from every episode, starting with the Swampy episode. So it is actually worth following. It's got some good
they
content
also
on there.
come out on Instagram as well, which is
Yep.
good.
Leave us a cheeky review as well. Pop an F in the review for Apple Podcasts. Just an F for Doof's love life, because then we'll know that you've listened to this episode. We always appreciate it when you guys leave us a review, and that's about everything for this episode.
Don't forget the YouTube.
Yep, we'll
Look at the YouTube. We
yep.
got some comments.
If you wanna follow us on YouTube, if you wanna listen to the podcast there, a lot of people do. You're good to go now, by the way.
When you say a lot,
Yep.
you mean 5, but that's
Yep,
cool.
that's all the episodes of season 2, and the episode with Swampy as well. They're all on the YouTube. So if that's your preferred method of listening, go
Do
right
it.
ahead.
Yes, and Spotify and all that kind of shit. We had a bit of a hiccup with Spotify there. Don't know what went wrong.
Sorry, the episode was a bit late, but we're good to go now.
Yep. We asked Anchor,
Mhm.
and they were like, "What?
It was
what?
just late. It's there now.
Yep." And we looked, and it was. So
Yep. So easy peasy. I appreciate Anchor customer support. And with that, thank you very much for listening. We will see you guys next week.
I know what we've done today.
I know what we're done today.
The Implications of Phineas and Ferb. Listen to it whenever you can.